Martin Zubimendi is the player that we needed to free up Declan Rice to play that box-to-box role and to give Odegaard the freedom. We needed someone like that Rodri-esque player that could help with the build-up play, retain possession, especially under pressure, and fits the tempo of the play. Mikel Arteta has been searching for this final piece of the puzzle for some time. Yes, we need a striker, but this transfer is arguably one of the most important transfers that we will make. With Thomas Partey coming to the age of just 32 now, he doesn't really fit the profile of someone that's there long term. In fact, we know we've had injuries. Without Thomas Partey, we were left in trouble. With the PSG game, we all know what happened. And we don't really have someone that can defend as well. Yes, people talk like Miles Lewis-Skelly, but playing against top tier players, you need to have the defensive aspect, not just the ability to bring the ball going forward. But this is why Zubimendi is perfect, because what he does is he acts as an anchor in midfield. He sits in his position and plays that classic 6 role. We don't want someone like Rice coming back one to go forward, be free, play like an 8 almost, as opposed to playing deep. Now, Zubimendi's stats are very interesting. He's in the top 20% amongst La Liga midfielders for progressive passes and has a high completion under pressure. You can see from some of these clips, he can pass both close by, under pressure, can dribble with the ball and maneuver with the ball to open up places. Not just the fact that progressive passes, it's being able to hold the ball and move the ball going forward. And we've seen this as Spain have played him as well. Now, since he's been a first-team player for some time and has extended his contract to 2027, just before we purchased him, I think he's a perfect time to buy him. Remember, he just turned 26. You can argue now he's coming to the athletic peak of his career, and then we'll go on to his midfield peak in the next few years or so. But the real reason is, why did we really need him? There is two things that I found with Arsenal. Sometimes when we had someone like Kibbe on the ball, although defensively he's not the best, he's able to positionally move the ball and transition the ball quite quickly. He's got a good distribution. Compared to his defensive ability, to be honest, he did prove me right this year. But what the problem is that Arsenal, we sometimes struggle with breaking the first press. Sometimes Partey can help us, but now with more injuries, the older he's getting, he's not as fluid. We see him deployed as a right back, but we needed that player as that 6. So the good thing with Zubimendi is that he rarely loses possession. He can hold the ball very well and he can press the ball very well. He's going to become that press resistant outlet. Think of that Busquets style player, that Rodri style player. That's exactly who we need, but we need someone like that, but that's someone that also has that defensive ability. We do know from his defensive stats, he's actually a good player, but we're mainly buying him in possession to dictate the pace, and as I said, to free out Odegaard. Let Odegaard go forward so Mendy can sit back and he can defend. Let Rice go forward and become that 8. That is the key. You see, breaking the first line of press is also more important, especially in the Premier League. There's many teams playing against us, and I feel like we struggled against teams that would press us, or sometimes teams that sit deep. And having a player like this can also help in the midfield and stops one of our playmakers from dropping deep. Imagine having Miles Lewis-Skelly and him both in midfield when we're trying to build up and your opponent is basically parking the bus. We have 2 players that can distribute the ball and 2 players that can pass. And of course, with Mendy being good in possession, that's where I think he would be a really good option. Now, the benefit is that he can play vertical balls, he can play long balls, short balls. He's very calm and he can play for 90 minutes. Not really that injury prone. We've seen Thomas Partey being injured, and that's where we lost him in some of our most important times.
Thomas Partey injury?
Yeah, he felt something, so we didn't want to take any risks.
What was it?
Something.
Simon?
Is the initial sort of diagnosis of Thomas that you think you'll be okay for Wednesday?
We don't know. I haven't spoken to the doctors yet, so they will check in now and see how he is.
And let's be realistic. Who do we have at CDM? We don't really have anyone else. We looked at sometimes playing someone like Jorginho there, but we knew that he was a possession-based player, very slow, wasn't able to recover. But Zubimendi could be the main player, and Partey could be almost that substitute or that rotational player to help him integrate. And then we can get rid of Partey, or we get rid of Partey this year. So that's why I like him. He's a player to control the tempo, and that is why exactly Arteta wants him. But what is the real reason? I think it's the issue that we have with our attack. Sometimes Odegaard drops deep when he shouldn't be dropping deep. Sometimes Declan Rice drops deep when he shouldn't be. Having him sit deep. Zubimendi can help in our build-up play, but there's one thing that I figured out. Let's say Ben White is playing. He would normally overlap on the outside and it will help Saka come through, and then Saka, Ben White and Odegaard work three together. But sometimes if no one's given Odegaard the ball, he likes to drop deep a lot of the time. But Zubimendi can basically free Odegaard to stay forward, and we don't have to worry about getting counter-attacked, because number one, we have a player that can help defend, but number two, we have a player that can receive the ball quickly, can distribute the ball from a counter-attack, but can also move the ball going forward. We can deploy Declan Rice as a player that runs inside the box and plays almost like how Xhaka did, but has that ability to also make a pass. So that is why I really like it. We can put Odegaard, focus on him being in the final third. And let's say we did get another marksman, key striker. Let's say we did get Sesko or Gyökeres that we've been linked with. I think this could very much be a defining season. I think now, as long as we get a top tier striker, I think we really have what it takes. Arsenal have everything, and it's Arsenal, and it's up to their performance and Mikel Arteta to now go and get the league. But what do you think? Do you think that Sesko and someone like Gyökeres is good enough with alongside Zubimendi, or do you feel we need someone else? And don't forget, Mikel Merino also did play alongside Zubimendi. So it's interesting how we're almost buying Sevilla's midfield. Very interesting. But he's been that player in the Spanish league, the possession-based league. I think he will integrate straight into our team, and I just can't wait to have a player like him in our team. I think give him a few weeks. Once he gets used to the league, I think this is going to be the player that we always needed in midfield.